Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody, to today's podcast of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to hearing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. If you are new to this podcast, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and share. Today, we have an amazing guest with us. Her name is Michy Morillo. Is that right?
Michy Morillo, yes.
Michy Morillo. Michy is the creator of an amazing 8-week guide that prepares youth to re-enter their lives after incarceration. The book is called Cell Dreamer, and it encourages emotional intelligence to be developed in these young minds. She is a teacher, a speaker, and is dedicated to uplifting and changing the conversation within these undesirable situations. I am so happy to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
So how you doing today? How's your day?
Great. A lot of great projects in the works. Can't really talk about it. That's part of it because there's, I'm working with a lot of great people right now. We have a really great project going on. I thought that this was a big project, but this project is something that they were like, listen, let's just do it. And then we'll be able to release it, talk about it. So we have to definitely get back to that one.
Yes, awesome. So listen, normally when I do these podcasts, I dive deep into the person and then we kind of bring up what they're doing in their lives. But I wanted to do this one a little bit different because I really feel as if what you have going on and what you've created really should be the main topic along with your story of what we're talking about. So if you don't mind just telling us your project, what it is, what it looks like, and what was the thought process behind the idea?
So Cell Dreamer came out of my struggles. The reason I created Cell Dreamer was because I was locked up from the age of 14 to 18. It was a revolving door, Sabrina. And I remember what got me locked up was that I wanted to fit in when I was younger. My mother had left my father, and the reason my mother left my father was because he was into drugs. He was into cocaine, and my mom gave him. She set boundaries, okay, and said, hey, listen, it's either me and my daughter, you're going to have to change, or I'm going to have to leave. So he chose drugs over me. He chose drugs over my mother, over us, over his family. So as a kid growing up, I think that it hits different once you start to understand what happened and why my mom left my father. So as an adolescent, I remember just getting myself in trouble, not realizing that it affected me that much, not having not so much a father figure, but thinking about, well, this guy chose drugs over me. So I wanted to see what was the big hype, right? What could be better than me? So I got myself caught up in drugs and just being a knucklehead, smoking weed, doing things that I wasn't supposed to be doing, skipping school, got locked up. My mom bailed me out. When I tell you it became a tradition, it became a tradition.
Wow.
I remember getting locked up like the third time, and they welcomed me as if they knew I would be back. It was not, hey, what happened? It was, hey, you could go ahead and have your old cell. However, you do have a new cell roommate, a new cellmate. So the older I got, I was like, okay, well, they just told me to do my time. You can't tell a kid to just do their time. There's got to be accountability, right? You can't just punish a kid. There's got to be accountability. Why did you do what you did? And I felt like they just smacked me in my hand and said, listen, don't do it again. But you can't say that to a kid. So the older I got, I said, you know what? I'm going to change the world. I'm going to be to these kids what I needed at that age. And what I needed at that age was someone who cared and served me with the proper tools so that when I do get released, I'm able to navigate better through life.
Wow, that's awesome. So what is it exactly? Can you show us?
Sure. So this is Cell Dreamer here. It's an 8-week personal development book. So it starts with self-reflection, and it's like, well, what got you here? I think it's important to always self-reflect on what it is that got you locked up. Not even locked up, even for adults. Why am I in this situation right now? And I had to, like I said, I had to tap into my inner self, my inner child, that 14-year-old self, and think about what is it that I needed at that age. And I remember just asking myself those questions. Okay, well, what got me there? I needed to self-reflect. Then I did self-awareness, which was being aware of my emotions, having the emotional intelligence to be able to navigate better through life, being able to say, okay, well, this is what triggers me. This is what doesn't trigger me. This is how I handle my triggers. This is the outcomes that I want. And self-sabotage. And that's another chapter that I put in the book, because I feel like we all self-sabotage when things are going good. Even when we want to do well, there's that doubt that creeps in, like, oh, well, why do you want to do this? Do you think you could do this? So I think that telling a youth that it's important and identifying that self-sabotage is going to be an issue when you want to transform your life is important. Another chapter is self-esteem. I don't think parents realize the struggles that these youth go through, especially with self-esteem. I think that we're not taught to have a healthy self-esteem. We are taught to have the better iPhone. We are taught to look our best. We are taught differently, right? So that develops a unhealthy self-esteem, because now we're trying to keep up with the Joneses instead of being our authentic selves. So that's something that I also talk about in the book. Self-discipline, that's another chapter that I had to work on, because discipline is important, especially as a youth. You want to do the right things, but then you're battling with these inner thoughts of, well, I want to make money, I want to do what's right, but it's easier for me to sell drugs and get money that way. Yeah. You got to be disciplined enough to say, no, that's not the route I want to go. And the way I do the discipline, I do a discipline challenge, and it's a 21-day meditation challenge, to where they're able to meditate, and that's a challenge that I give them, so that they're able to develop that discipline skill.
No kidding. So you have one of the challenges in the book is to meditate for 21 days in a row?
Correct.
Ooh, that's so cool.
So I actually kind of tricked them into meditating so that they could calm their brain, So it's how disciplined are you? Because we all say we're disciplined until it's time to do something consistently. And we ended up, so I did a challenge, and they meditate for 21 days.
Wow.
So then I also have a 21-day journal on how it went throughout the 21 days.
Very cool. I love that, because very well that these kids meditation is not in their vocabulary.
But the way I did it was, it's important. We all dealt with anxiety.
Yeah.
I used to deal with anxiety. I used to deal with OCD. And what helped me was being able to meditate and just calm my mind and be in the present moment. One of the things that I always say is, look at this time as preparation, not as a punishment. Because if you look at it as a punishment, then your perspective changes. Then you feel like a victim. Well, I'm here. You don't know what they did to me. I grew up without a mother. And then you're telling yourself these stories, and you're not giving yourself the opportunity to grow, as opposed to saying preparation. Okay, you know what? I'm going to prepare so that when I get out of here, I am stronger, healthier version of myself.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. What was and this is me being 100%, not trying to offend anybody at all. But when I think of children or young adults incarcerated or in juvie or whatever it is, and I think of the statistics that go along with those individuals, and what I view would be appropriate for a handout or for teaching these kids to do it differently. I think of photocopied pieces of paper with a staple and a pencil, with exercises similar to what you're talking about. And then I look at the way that you decided to package your program is like night and day difference. And I'm assuming that there's a reason behind how rich and valuable your packaging looks. Is there a reason behind that?
I've always liked to over exceed at things. I always want to give 100%. I never want to. I'm always looking to over deliver. You know, I want them engaged. Right now, the cool thing, the trend is like matte black. So I made it matte black, not a glossy black.
Yeah.
Like I was very strategic with the packaging, with what's in it, just because I wanted them to gravitate to it.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to look at it and be like, oh, another book. No, this is just not another book. So not only are they getting fulfilled with what's inside, once they even feel it, it's a matte black book. And just I made the handcuffs shiny. I'm not sure if you're able to see it.
Yes.
But I made the handcuffs shiny so that they're able to just kind of be intrigued and just kind of get lost even looking at the cover.
Yeah.
What does it mean freedom starts here? So again, I know what I needed. I tapped into my inner self. I tapped into my inner child. What did I need at that age? I wanted a cool book. So I made it even age appropriate. You know, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't, because some of them don't even know how to read or write. So I wanted to make it age appropriate to where my story weaves in and out of it, but then I stop because nobody wants to read a novel about my whole life story. So I talk about my story, then they do an exercise, then I stop. Now let's go back to my story. This is how I handled it. Now is your turn. You know, so it's the way I designed it is so that one, it stirs up curiosity, and two, they're still able to, they don't get bored with it. They're still teenagers, right? Whether people want to call them delinquents, inmates, a thug, whatever it is, it's still a child. And I don't think that people realize that. A criminal, whatever people call them, let's be honest, they're only a child. They're just hurting, you know, based on their environment, based on what's happened, based on their trauma. So like I said, I tapped into what I needed at that age.
I love that. And I can so, just even when I picked it up, I felt like that it just pulls you in and really makes you curious, as you said. I really feel that if there's any packaging or any cover that could entice these young ones to actually open it up and give it a chance, that this is the book. I don't feel like there is any other program that they could get where they would feel literally pulled in towards it as if it was specifically made for them. And I think it was just brilliant the way you did it.
Thank you. Thank you. And it was, and I did it with them in mind. And I made sure I always say that. I was asked, they were like, I had a couple podcast interviews and they asked me, well, why juveniles? And I was like, why not? Because I was a juvenile and they've been forgotten. They've been forgotten. Everybody's living their lives out here, whether they're stressed out because of the pandemic, with whatever. I was a juvie kid and these people have ignored them. They have been pushed out of society and now they're locked up and now they made a mistake. How many mistakes do we make as adults, right?
100%.
So I want to be able to be, like I said, be to them what I needed. You know, somebody didn't give up, right? And look where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of saying, nah, I want to focus on them because nobody, and it comes naturally. Like I love what I do. I honestly love what I do. So it doesn't feel like work. I'm able to work till 11:30 at night and I feel refreshed. I go to bed fulfilled, not tired ever.
Absolutely. I love that. What are you envisioning for these young kids? What kind of impact are you dreaming up for their future? What are you seeing for them?
I see change. I see generational curses just broken. I see the revolving door stopping. I see it just stopping because this is a book of healing to where they're able to look within. I don't give them the answer. They have to actually go searching for the answer within themselves.
Wow.
I again, like I mentioned at the beginning, we're working on this big project because the goal is to have this book in every single detention center around the globe.
Wow.
It's just that's what's gonna happen. That's what I'm putting out there. That's what's going to be, And I think that so we're working on I'm working with a pretty great team, and we're just gonna. That's what's gonna happen. Every single detention center is gonna have my book.
Wow. Absolutely. I just got the chills when you said that.
And a
That's
lot of people,
amazing.
a lot of people will be like, "Oh, well, that's big thinking." Yeah, I serve a big God. I'm very spiritual. I know that this has the right intention behind it, right? And there is so much talent locked up. Sabrina, there is so much talent locked up.
Yeah.
I just tell you, I would have never thought I was going to become an author. I went from juvenile delinquent to author.
Wow.
It was because someone believed in me.
Yeah.
It was because someone didn't give up on me. So think about that. There's so much talent locked up.
Yeah.
So I'm not stopping, not at 10,000 youth. I'm going to make sure that it's right now we're working on the book. It's being translated in Spanish. Yeah. So I'm sure I'll be getting a call from Telemundo soon. Yeah. So yeah, we're doing some pretty big stuff.
Oh, that's so great. I love that. So what's your backstory?
So my backstory is, so once I started to change my life around, I remember my mom just crying, Sabrina, when I just tell you that this lady just cried day in and day out because she got me out of New York because she wanted me to not follow in my father's footsteps. Remember, she told my father, "I am leaving you because you are choosing drugs over me and my daughter," which is me.
Yeah.
So now we're moving outskirt of Boston, and I pick up drugs, and she's like, "That's devastating."
Yeah.
It's devastating. And it's funny because now my mom, instead of crying tears of desperation, she cries tears of joy. I actually dedicated this book to her. And I said, thank you for being sorry, but thank you for being such a patient mother, right? Throughout my troubled teens, throughout those years. And before this, I remember just wanting to I remember my cousin getting stabbed. And I said, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of Boston. This is not healthy. My cousins would do drive-by. And I just felt like I want to be able to do something different. I became a graphic designer. I went to Job Corps. Then I moved out here to Florida. And I remember just not being fulfilled with graphic designing. I want to do something more, So I became a John Maxwell coach, certified coach, and I was training business people, workshops, leadership skills. And even that didn't fulfill me.
Wow.
Because they had the money, but I felt like they didn't have the intelligence, and I'm not downing any blue collar companies at all, but I kind of felt like adults, they have a mindset of my way is the right way. It's hard to mold an adult. They think they know it all. Let's be honest. So adults. So I remember just being in a business workshop, and I'm teaching them leadership skills, and some are so resistant because they've been there. They know that I've been in the company 10 years, and you know what? They're not gonna fire me because people work enough to get fired. They work enough to not get fired, and they make enough to not quit. So I'm like, okay, well, this isn't really my forte. These business people, they're great, but it's not what I want to do. So I started volunteering at a juvenile detention center out here in Florida. And I remember a kid just slouched, and he reminded me of me. And I was like, oh my God, because I remember having that attitude like, what do you know? But the difference is that I did know because I've been there.
Yeah.
And he just looked so discouraged. He was empowered while I was there. But then once I was walking and I was kind of saying my goodbyes, he just looked discouraged.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And a light bulb hit. And I was like, okay, it turned on. And I said, all right, my voice leaves, but my words will stay.
Yeah.
And that's how I created Cell Dreamer.
Wow.
I said, I'm going to leave. My words are going to leave with me. But I'm going to make sure that my words stay. My voice will leave, but my words stay. And It's been the best thing that I've ever done. Can I just tell you? I'm like, I just signed over a copy to myself. I make so many copies. I sign so many copies to other people, and I signed a copy to myself.
I love
Like,
that.
listen, you know what? You did it. You're an author. People want your signature. People want to know your story. So sign one for you.
Yeah.
And I did that, just to kind of we gotta empower ourselves, right? We can't look for outside validation.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that we all struggle with, wanting to be validated by other people. And I was like, yeah, no, I did this. Let me sign your book over to me. Sign Michy, I love you.
That's awesome.
You're
So
free.
this kid that kind of like helped this light bulb. Do you know who this kid is, or?
No, I was there volunteering. Like I said, I spoke. I was hired. I was volunteering as a motivational speaker. Like I said, he was motivated, but then he was like, once I left, once I was saying my goodbyes, I just saw his whole energy just switch.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I gotta do something.
Wow.
Do something. And it was the best thing. I think this kid, I wish I would have grabbed his name.
Yeah.
But he was the one who inspired me to kind of say, okay, we got to do something different.
Wow. That would be crazy and so amazing if you wound up bumping into him at some point where he recognized that maybe. Wow.
Yeah.
So,
And the oldest, go ahead.
So who saved you? How did you find your way out?
I'm going to say that I have to be honest and really think back. And my mom gave me a book, and it was an angel's book.
Like God?
Yeah. I really believe that God was I really believe that this was all part of the plan.
Okay.
Like, even looking at everything that's happening now, I really believe that everything I went through was for this very moment right here. Was for this.
Yeah.
So that I could be a better servant to those who are in the detention centers. Because everyone I speak to is like, this has never been done. Oh my God, we got to get you in here. Let me order a few books. We got, so it's like, so it was worthwhile. I've had people ask me, do you regret it? I can't, because then I'm giving away my power now. Yeah. If I regret it, that means I'm giving away my power, and I didn't learn the lesson. So I'm going to honestly give all credit to God. My mom gave me this book. It was an angel book. And I just started reading it. I remember just kind of looking at it, reading it. And I just kind of felt like, okay, I got to do something better. I can't. I remember just smoking weed and doing drugs. And my first goal was to make it to the age of 21. That was my only goal. That was my first goal. I was like, I just want to make it at 21. If I make it to 21, I'm happy. Like, I don't care if I die at 22. I just want to make it at 21. So I am 39 years old now. I'm going to be 40 this year. So we way past 21, girl. So yeah.
Wow.
Let's go. 21.
So your mom in a book. Who do you have the book? Do you know the author? Just a book?
Like Doreen. Again, this was when I was like 20 years old. I still have the book. It's just like an angel's book. And I was just kind of intrigued about God and angel. My mom has always gone to church, but I wasn't really into it. You can't really build a relationship with God if it's forced. You have to be able to find your own way, your own path, and build that on that relationship. But now, I definitely have a great relationship with God now, because I really believe that everything I went through, like I said, it was for this purpose right here.
Wow, that's so amazing. I love that you, or I don't even know, something that you said just triggered this though. I talk a lot. I just did a TikTok on this today about giving thanks to your struggles or the people that have given you struggles. A lot of times we like to blame people. So for instance, you blaming your dad for doing drugs and then enticing you to feel like maybe you should try drugs to see what it is. And people get in this story of, woe is me because of my dad. Woe is me because of my dad. But in your instance, what you just basically said was you were supposed to go through all that. So it's almost like thanks to your dad for even giving you the idea of doing it and giving as like, as crazy as that is, giving him thanks for doing that, because now it's led you down this amazing path that you never would have had if it weren't for that.
I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Isn't that crazy though? Like, people don't do that though. Like, people have bad guys in their life that they label as bad guys. And you are a prime example of a person that wasn't doing so good actually led you down this path. And if it wasn't for that, it possibly never would have happened.
Exactly. And my probation officer, we're now friends. She bought a book, and we're working with trying to get my books in the Massachusetts system.
Wow.
Probation officer, and they were like, oh my God. So I think everything has its divine purpose. I think it's perspective. I definitely
yes.
Everything is perspective. It's and I wouldn't change it, Sabrina. I promise you. I thank God. I'm like, wow, this is cool, because I'm changing the trajectory of my life, their life, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Wow, so cool. What are the two biggest changes in your mindset over the last 10 years?
I would have to say character transformation is one of them. Personal development. I think that personal development is important for anybody, not just a juvenile, not just for me, for anybody. Being able to say, you know what, this is no longer good. I did not have patience when I was younger, and one of the ways that I developed patience was by getting behind the longest line at Publix, and just developing that patience, putting myself in situations where I need to be patient, like I need to be patient. And I remember just a lady in front of me saying, go ahead, go, you only have a couple items. I said, no, thank you. And she was like, why? And I said, because I just want to develop my patience. And she was like, how old are you? I think I was like 27 maybe at the time. And I've just always put myself in situations that I have to grow, right? Because now it's like, now I'm patient. Now I'm like, okay, now I'm patient because I put myself through that. And I remember the lady saying, like, that's interesting. I've never heard of that. So you're in the longest line at Publix because you're trying to develop patience? I said, yeah. So you go. You and your 15 cans, but I developed patience now,
Oh, I love that.
And I think character transformation is important. I think being able to kind of say, okay, well, having that angel rise above you, not pay evil with evil, because it's good to it's easy to be able to be kind when somebody else is being kind. But the real challenge comes when someone's unkind. What are you going to do, right? You got to be able to say, okay, are you going to scoop down to that level? But it's character transformation. You got to be sick of your own shit so that you're able to change, right? And a lot of people will say, oh, well, I'm sick of this person. I'm sick of this person. Well, wait a minute. You can't be sick of everything around you. You got to be able to be sick of how you respond, how you react, and I think a lot of people do a lot of blaming instead of taking responsibility. And I want to take responsibility. If I mess up, I'm the first one to say, hey, listen, I messed up, my fault. I think that's where personal development comes in. I think that character transformation is important for anyone. And it's if I've done it like this, I don't want to do it like this anymore. And I guarantee you that people will start to change, because it's like, okay, well, it's like habit, People do things out of habit, not realizing that it's just not working anymore. And they want change, but nothing changes unless nothing changes.
100%. What do you say to people who kind of aren't down with there's people that literally hate personal development. They think it's dumb. What is your opinion on that? What do you say to people like that?
Oh man, I think coming from an aligned place, kind of pity them, you know, because I could sit here and be like, oh, they're dumb. No, I can't do that, because I think it's important to say, you know what, they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what's missing, you know, and then they find themselves stuck. They find themselves inside the revolving door with handcuffs on, right? You know, with handcuffs on, with shackles on, doing the same thing. They neglect those areas that aren't being attended to. And I just kind of pity them because they don't know. I've been in relationships where they don't like personal development, and it's like, doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, because why wouldn't you want to continue to grow? But I think it's that they just don't know. And I think it takes an event, not so much a tragic event, all right? Hopefully not, but I think that sometimes it takes an event to kind of say, well, no, I got to do better. I got to do better, because I've seen it. There's people who just don't like personal development, and it's like, well, it's personal. You got to grow. It's not you develop. It's not you change. You develop so that things could work out. No, it's personal development so that things could start flowing properly.
100%. I totally agree with you. So what were you doing before all of this? You obviously have so much going on. You've got projects. You've got these detention centers reaching out to you. You must be going like a million miles an hour. What were you doing before all of this craziness, though?
Well, I was a graphic designer for 20 years. So I was a graphic designer, and again, it was fun. It was nice, but I wasn't fulfilled, you know, and I had my own company. I partnered up with a Turkish man, great guy, and we just started, the name of the company was Star Signs, and I remember just doing that for like about 5 years. I had my company for about 5 years, and then I worked on projects for Public Storage, Publix, Capital One Bank, and the money was good, but I was just not fulfilled.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like there's a paycheck and there's a purpose, and I feel like me following my purpose now is what's fulfilling me. But I was a graphic designer for 20 years.
Wow.
I was trying to design my book.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I designed my book. I designed all of it, every page. The only thing I didn't design was the barcode, but I designed everything.
Wow. So
I did. Because go ahead.
Another thing that goes towards, even when you're doing something that you don't necessarily like, you don't know why you're doing it. So you said earlier that you weren't really down with that whole gig that you were doing, but now look at what it's done for you. Such a great example.
Yeah, so I used to be into graffiti, but back then you weren't able to do graffiti because then you would get locked up again. So when I went to Job Corps, I was like, they told me there's an art class, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. I was interested. They were like, it's graphic design, you design on the computer. I was like, on the computer? Why on the computer? And this was in like 1999 or something. And I was a graphic designer, and I just fell in love with it. And I'm glad that I designed my book, because I don't think that anybody would have patience with me as them being the designer, because I'm so particular. I'm so particular. Like, I want things like these handcuffs. They had to like look a certain way. They had to have the right angle, you know. So I said, you know what? I'm glad. And while I was writing my book, I said that. I said, you know what? They would have told me, listen, no, thank you. I don't want that part of you and your dreamer book, whatever. You and your handcuffs. No, thank you. Let me loose. You know, I'm not being to this. I'm not being handcuffed to you or your project. So I'm glad, because it turned out the way I wanted it to I created this. It turned out exactly how I wanted to.
Wow.
Turn out. So I did it, and I'm happy with it. And I designed all my things. I designed so that there's never any, I have to make another change. Yeah. Yeah. So when I do want to hire a graphic designer eventually, but they have to know how I flow. You know, there's things that I'm very particular on how things look.
Yeah.
I want to give my audience the best, a good experience.
100%. I agree with you. And you know your audience more than anybody else.
I know what they need.
Yeah. So I heard that you are possibly partnering with the high school that you were originally expelled from. Is that true? Or did I just make that up?
No, it's so. I go up north to go visit my family about a couple times a year. And I have a friend out there, and he's part of an organization. And he told me, "Hey, listen, I have an organization, and it's for youth that dropped out of high school, and my name was all around town. And there was an amazing lady. So my probation officer's best friend, she does work with the high school, and she was like, my old probation officer was like, you got to meet this lady named Carol. So I was like, okay, I don't know who's Carol, but I'm not going to worry about it because I'm not getting locked up. So I don't care who you introduce me to now, right? so then he tells me the same thing. I need you to meet my friend. He was like, I need you to meet this lady named Carol. So I was like, okay, perfect. Let's meet Carol. And Carol is part of the high school. And she was like, listen, I've heard great things about you. I've ordered your book. Can we do something with the high school students, with the troubled teens? I said, okay. They ordered a couple of books. They ordered a few books, and I met with them every Friday. And so, yes, so the school that I got expelled from, I did the 8-week course with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
How is that?
I was a freshman, and I got expelled. They were like, listen, we can't. You got to go. And I was like, okay, bye. And I said bye because I never understood. I wanted purpose. Purpose has always been my thing. And I don't encourage kids to drop out of high school. I don't. But I think for me, I wanted to do something. I didn't understand certain things. I said, listen, I'm here 8 hours, and you guys are not teaching me personal development. You guys aren't teaching me how to manage money.
Yep.
You guys aren't teaching me how to balance, about credit scores, about any of these things, about personal development, on how to navigate better through life. You guys ain't teaching me this. And so when I got expelled, I was okay. I got myself into trouble, but found myself in Job Corps, becoming a graphic designer and creating this book and doing okay. So, and again, my old high school hired me. So, but I think you have to be able to be in the right mindset. You can't just drop out without without a vision, right? I think it's important to just not say, okay, I'm going to drop out to do drugs. That's not okay. I dropped out because, I got expelled. So I was pushed out. Again, I think that's the first solution for, anywhere. If they do something wrong, they get pushed out and they get locked up. If you do something wrong, you get pushed out and you get out of school. Like, where's the solution? I think that they're still part of the problem, as opposed to what's going on. What's going on at home? Yeah. There's a reason why you're acting like this. This is not who you are, right? And at that age, they make you feel like this is who you are, and that's not cool. You got to be able to tell a teenager that's not who you are. How you're behaving right now is not who you really are. So what's going on? Get to the root cause. Don't look at it from the first level, from the first layer, because then you're never going to attack any issues.
100%. I totally agree. But that's super surreal. Like, when that happened, you must have just felt like with complete circle, like the circle of life. Going back to the high school.
Yeah. I felt, it was through Zoom.
That's what started the whole thing.
Yeah. I think everything has been surreal, Sabrina. I'm going to be real with you. I got everything that has been happening. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't think it's not even, I can't even explain. I can't, everything, the calls that I'm getting. Hey, listen, I want to do this with you. I want to, just all of it. And I'm just like, I didn't see myself in this situation. Again, I created this book with a purpose. Mm-hmm. It was more about the legacy, never the currency. And I felt like, I finally feel like I'm being seen. I've been discovered. I think I was just a lost child. And I made, what's that saying? You make lemons out of lemonade or something. life, but I feel like people want to hear the success story now. Like, holy cow, you went from juvenile delinquent to author, you went through all this, and this is what you're doing now. It's pretty cool. It's funny because God worked on my character before I got here, though. There was a lot of character transformation there because I was very egotistical. I was very cocky before, so I was young, sold drugs, thought I was cool. Yeah. And now I'm on the humble side. So it's like, is it surreal? How does it feel? And it's like, it's cool. It's cool.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
And it's not coming from an egotistical place. Yeah. Like, yeah, I knew they would call. No, it's not coming from that place. It's coming from a place of humility. Like, this could all be taken away. No, thank you. I've worked really hard to get here. So I know my place. I stay in my lane. And I think that's important for anyone, right? Listen, when you get what you pray for, make sure you know how to handle it. Because some people get sloppy. They get messy. Don't get sloppy. Continue to walk with the integrity that you've always walked in. 100%. Don't raise your standard of living. Raise your standard of giving. I'm not gonna sit here and say, okay, well, now I got this. No. Listen, I'm gonna raise my standard of giving because I'm able to give more now. Why would I go ahead and buy a Tesla? I don't need it. Don't raise your standard of living. Stay humble. Remember the purpose. Remember the mission.
100.
You gotta stay real. You can't sit there and, if next time we do a podcast and I have about 17 chains on, just mute me. Just take me off. Just like literally take me off. Like, that's it. If I'm like, yeah, what's up? You're gonna be like, what happened? Just tell me, what, Michy, it was nice to see you, but no, you gotta stay humble. You gotta know where you come from. You gotta be able to know the purpose. People want to make it, whether it's TikTok, right? Why do you want to be discovered? I love what you're doing. Yeah. You're trying to help people, right? And I think that people forget their purpose because now they want to do things based on validation or whatever it is.
100%. Speaking of all of that, as far as, being real and being a good teacher, what do you feel is the biggest difference between what you're teaching in Cell Dreamer and then what is currently being taught? Is there even anything currently being taught to these? No. Really?
No. And that's the reason I kept going. Well, let me just step back for a minute. The reason I kept getting locked up was because of my choices, but I wasn't well served.
Thank you. Okay.
Because I can't blame them.
Yeah.
I can't blame them. I didn't get locked up again because of them. I got locked up because of my choices. However, I was not well served. If I was well served and they told me, hey, listen, Michy, what is it that's happening at home? What has you feeling like this? Why do you want to fit in? How's your self-esteem level? Do you know about emotional intelligence? What triggers you? Why do you respond like that? And they served me right. I think I would have maybe went 2 less times. So now, like I said, now this asks all these questions, and when I get to the juvenile detention centers, they're like, this has never been done before. Yeah. Holy cow, this is an answered prayer. You are a prayer. You're an answered prayer to a lot of people. And I'm like, thank you. And everything I have written in this book is like, holy cow. This has I even did a release action plan. What are you going to do when you get released? You got to know these questions. You got to know these answers. You can't just say, okay, you guys are released. So now they're walking around aimlessly, not knowing what's next. However, now with Cell Dreamer, they have a release action plan. They know what to do. I have an exercise called Who's Got Your Back? Okay, who's got your back if challenges occur? You got to know these things. If somebody tells you to use drugs and you're already been clean, and you don't want to break your sobriety, You got to know who's got your back.
Yeah.
So they don't do any of this. They do school.
Mm.
That's all I did was school.
Yeah.
But they didn't do a course. They didn't do a personal development course. They did not prepare me for the outside world. They didn't.
Wow.
They did not prepare me for the outside world. So now they get my book and they're jumping on it.
Yeah.
So I'm solving a problem. That was the goal, is to solve a problem.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even, and that just goes to show why everyone that goes through the trials and tribulations that they go through, because that wouldn't even be on my radar, but that would be on your radar. And that is a huge issue that I never even would have thought of. Unbelievable. I can 1,000% see that making such an impact.
They
Impact.
And I hear it all the time. I've never seen anything like this.
Wow.
Holy cow. And you were juvenile delinquent. So now I'm speaking and teaching from the lane of experience. So now these kids see my picture in the back of the book, and there's that hope.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. She was in here? She was a delinquent? She was a juvenile like me? And she did this? So now it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. So they're jumping on it. They see it. They see a curriculum, and they're like, let's get it in here.
Wow. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. So what do you have? I mean, I know you've got some things planned that you can't necessarily talk about, but what do you have? What's your vision for the next 5 years? What do you have going on? I'm just imagining just so much stuff.
Yeah. For the next 5 years, I'll probably be able to retire by then. Yeah, the next 5 years, I see this huge. I see a lot of coaches in different states. We're gonna have a train the trainer course, and we're gonna have certified coaches so that they're able to teach the courses at the centers. I'm no longer gonna be able to do it, because I can't be in every state, So we're gonna train coaches. We're gonna do certification programs to even those that have been incarcerated. Now they're gonna be alumni and go teach.
Wow.
That's the goal. So in 5 years, this is already going to be established already where it needs to be, right? And when I say it needs to be somewhere, is helping those that want to give back. Sabrina, I had a guy. He did 7 years in prison. 7 years in prison. Never heard of him. He contacted me on Messenger. Rough guy. He was like, I just did 7 years in prison, sis, and I saw your book, and I want to order like about 4 books because my nephew's locked up, my cousin's locked up. Guy, I don't know, he did 7 years in prison, and he was like, and after speaking to him, he was like, you know what, let me get another 3, and I was like, okay, and he was like, is there any way I could volunteer this and that? There's another light bulb. People that's been locked up and changed their lives around, they want to be able to give back. But I want to give them the opportunity by making them a certified life coach based on Cell Dreamer.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're working on as well.
Wow. Unbelievable.
In 5 years, I should already be in all the states.
Fantastic.
Every single state, at least 2 more translations, but all the states. In 5 years, there's no reason why we shouldn't be in every single state. Having contracts with the detention centers, because unfortunately, a group leaves, but then a group goes in. A group leaves, but then a group goes in. And it stinks. And it's not till you get the book and then it stops. Okay, I'm done. So that's the goal for them, to go in there once and not come back. I spoke to one of the CEOs and I said, listen, this is not Walmart. You should not have repeat customers. You should not have repeat juveniles. If you have a repeat youth, you are not serving them well. This is not Walmart. And I told him, I was like, I never thought about that. I said, of course you haven't. That's the reason they keep coming back. Serve them right and they won't come back.
Yeah.
You should not have repeat customers. You should not. This is not Walmart, sir, with all due respect. So the goal is for them to have the book and be done and don't come back. You shouldn't see them again.
Yeah.
If you see them again, that's something you've done wrong. Yeah. Sit down with them. Talk to them. Hire us to coach them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So how can people find you? Where do people find all of this stuff that you are doing? Where do we go?
Okay, you're able to go to Michy Morillo on Facebook, which is my name, Michy Morillo. Instagram, same thing. At Michy Morillo. My website for Cell Dreamer is www.celldreamer.com. Yeah. Those are the platforms that I'm on right now.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Awesome. And then is there a way to contact you through that website? Like,
yes.
Is there a face? Okay, cool.
Yes.
So they could go there and they could get like a Facebook link or something and find you.
Yep.
So cool.
I'm not hard to find. And I told myself that. I never want to get too busy.
Yeah.
To be, I wouldn't be found, right? And I had a mother who messaged me and said, hey, listen, my daughter's, I ordered your book. You probably won't get this message, but my daughter's struggling and I'm afraid that she's going to get locked up. What can I do? And she even said a couple times, I hope you get this message. Despair. I felt the desperation because that was my mother at one point. So I want to be able to be like, yes, this is Michy Morillo. This is an automated respond. This isn't a robot. This is me. And listen, I'm able to coach your daughter.
Wow.
But before I coach her, this is what I want you to do. Give her the book.
Yeah.
I'll do the 8 weeks with her or whatever it is that they need.
Yeah.
But I'm not hard to find. And I make sure of that because I want to be able to be there. I don't like that whole, you got to go through my assistant and this and that. No, give me the phone. I'll talk. I don't care. It's fine. It's about knowing where you come from. Remember, raise your standard of giving. And that's it. Not even money, even giving time. Give your time. It's okay. Don't get yourself too busy. And I think that a lot of celebrities will kind of do that. Yeah, you got to go through 20 people. Nah, that's not me. Listen, they get to my assistant, give me the phone. What's going on with your daughter? What's going on? Because I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. And these parents, they want to give their children the best life possible. But sometimes they're just not receptive because something's going on and they don't know how to deal with it. Childhood trauma, they don't want to speak to their mother. But now their mother has the author of Cell Dreamer on the phone. Oh, mom, cool, thanks. You get what I'm saying?
100.
I'll speak to that child for 5 minutes. No problem. I have a problem.
That's awesome. So cool. Ah, so much excitement.
Yes.
So much excitement. I'm so excited for you and Cell Dreamer and everything. I can just see this so clearly for you.
Thank you. What do you see? Let me see what you see.
As far as what?
You said that you see it clearly. You're speaking of the things that
I didn't realize that there wasn't a program. Mm-hmm. Like, I know that there's school, but I just thought that there would be something like a 1, 2, 3 step or something, or what I was saying before, like a little worksheet with like a staple with like 10 pieces of paper and a pencil or something. I'm just so baffled that this has been around, the incarceration with these young ones has been around for so long and nobody has done this. And now you did it so beautifully that there's literally, it would be a disgrace to any, what would that be called? It's not a prison. What is that? A jail?
What, the
the place that it's going to be purchasing these or taking on
the detention facilities.
Detention facility. It would be a disgrace for any of them to turn it down, to be like, no, I'm not going to invest in this product. It would be like a church refusing to use the Bible and just being like, we can't afford the Bible, so we're just going to do it on our own. I mean, I just see it literally what you're saying as far as within the next 5 years, just taking over and really making an intense impact in the individuals and their being a repeat customer or not being a repeat customer.
Like, I'm looking forward to hearing their success story. I'm literally looking forward to hearing saying, hey, listen, thank you. Listen, even thank me. Just, I did it. That's all. Thank you. I'm not worried about that. You know, I did it. I got out. I did it. You know?
Yeah, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for the product or the program. And I'm so excited for these kids. Like, they don't even know what's coming. They don't even realize how much their mind is going to be open. Like, things that you wouldn't, like, I remember when I first dived into personal development, and my situation isn't nearly as in depth as some of these or most of these individuals. And I was like, wow, I can't even imagine the weight lifted and the eyes opening to a brand new world for them.
And that's the reason I say, listen, don't look at this time as punishment. Look at it as preparation. You have it up. I tell them this in the book. I say, you have it up from that person in the street. Well, you have it up from that person. And so that changes their perspective. Like, really? I have it up than the person in the street? Cool. So then they start doing the exercises with like, yeah, I'm going to get out of here. And I have it up.
Yes.
I'm able to go ahead and go and execute. You know, don't look at it as punishment. Dude, this is awesome. This is great. You're reinventing yourself right now.
Yeah.
Reinventing who you are. Get out there.
Yeah.
Detox. Right now you're detoxing from toxic friends. You're good.
Yeah.
You know, so their whole mind is like preparation, not punishment. Don't look at it like that.
Wow. And that is so true, which I, again, wouldn't have thought of that either. Like, they're getting an education that most people outside of their, it's not a huge industry, personal development. I think it's just now coming to Bay, but people kind of look at it like unnecessary, not even necessary.
And I don't understand.
And they're missing out on so much. And you're so right. Now these individuals literally have it in their hands and will be able to fly out of these, prisons or jails with so much more knowledge than even the average person in the world.
I had a kid from the high school. We had a Zoom meeting and all the students are there and I'm looking at them, but I see a kid just running and stressed out. I could see him in the Zoom. So he was a little distracting. I'm sorry, miss. And I said, okay. So I go back to speaking, and he actually stops, takes off his camera, does something. And I'm like, what's going on? Because you could see through Zoom, you could see everything.
Yeah.
Like, I can't find my book. He was stressed out because he couldn't find his book. And he kind of felt this man again, ego. He was like, I don't understand why I'm so stressed out about this book. And I was like, it's not that the book you're stressed out. You're not stressed out about the book. You're more stressed out about what's inside of it, right? But what's inside of it? Your thoughts are inside of it. The knowledge is what's inside of it. And I said, listen, if you don't find it, I will give you a copy and I will personalize it. No, I don't want you to do that because it was my responsibility and I lost it. No, but I could respect the fact that he was such an fancy looking for this book. And that's what happens. You go in and you go deep and it's like, man, this thing is crazy. I even have them write a letter to themselves. Listen, forgive yourself. You've done it. You did it. You're here. Get over it. That's it. Now turn the page. Now rewrite your story. What are we doing next?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I love everything about this. I'm so excited. So we're at the time in the podcast where I like to lighten it up a little bit.
Okay. Was I that heavy?
Sometimes I like to add a little bit of fun.
Okay.
I believe that life is fun and joyful, which I'm sure you also teach in that book 100%. But I want to ask you 5 questions that are completely non-related to anything we've been talking about.
Okay.
And then I would like to some advice from you. I write a personal question for each of my guests that I think they would be able to give the best advice for. And then we're going to close up. Is that cool?
Let's do it.
All right. So my first lightning round, question 1. What is your favorite city?
New York.
Okay.
We're in there, and I think it's just I'm fascinated by the lights. Can I live there? No, I don't want to live there, but I like the whole. New York. I like the lights. Especially during Christmas. It's just fascinating to me.
Do you go back? Do you visit?
I haven't been because just my dad's out there, but I do go to Boston, but New York, I would have to definitely say New York.
Awesome. I've never been to New York.
No, it's fun.
It's funny because I lived in Pittsburgh for like 6 years, which is pretty close to New York. Always meant to go there, never went. One of these days.
Yeah.
What is your go-to restaurant and what would you order?
Go-to restaurant. Living room. I'm a homebody, believe it or not.
What do you make? Tell me what's your go-to then to make.
Well, no, my fiance, she's a great cook, so she'll cook Spanish food, and I'm a homebody. If I could just hang out at the house, I will. I'm a homebody. I think the older I got, the more I'm just chill. It's crazy because I was never like that. You know, I'm not a restaurant type of person.
So what's your favorite Mexican dish that she cooks?
Okay.
Where she says she's gonna make it and you're like, hell yeah.
Okay. Let's see. She makes these killer burritos. It's like a belly with beans and corn and all this other stuff. And I'm like, man, the stuff is pretty good. Yeah.
So funny. I'm Spaniard and Mexican half. And I cook tons of Mexican food. I've never made a burrito.
Really?
I've never made a freaking burrito.
Pretty good.
Dude, I'm going to write that down. Things to do. Make a freaking burrito. How is that even a thing?
Yeah, she does it with steak. It's pretty good. And I may tell her to do it tomorrow.
Yes, and then take a picture of it and tag me.
I will. I got you.
Oh, that sounds delish.
Yeah. Yes.
What is your favorite childhood memory?
I don't have any that I could think of. Because remember, we can't talk about, we lighten things up right now. So I was locked up. 18, so there's no childhood memories there. How about the best thing that I'm doing that I should have done when I was a child was roller skating. I just took up roller skating as a hobby, and it's the funnest thing ever.
Wow. Did you go out and buy yourself a new pair?
Yeah. I had a coach. And then COVID hit, but I had a coach, and that's pretty fun. Yeah, I love roller skating.
Dude, that's cool. Are you just doing laps around your neighborhood right now?
I kind of want to dance. I go to the park right out here, and I dance, and I try to dance with my skates on. I fall a couple of times. I actually got bruises, but yeah, but I'm trying to dance and skate at the same time. It's not working out so good, but on to the next question.
That's so cool. I've never roller skated. I was in the era of right when rollerblades hit. So I had rollerblades, but the roller skates are coming back. I see them a lot on social media. These cute little girls dancing on their roller
It's pretty
skates.
cool. And I'm just like, man, I know how to dance, but not with roller skates on. And I just think it's so cool.
You'll learn. I love that you're pushing your limits even now.
Yeah.
You got this whole company blasting out, and you're like, I'm going to add another thing to my plate.
And I'm over here like falling. Yeah, and they're like, hey, what do you want us to do with this? And this company called this facility call. I'm like, hold on a second, I'm dancing, I'm trying.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, next question. What is your favorite non-alcoholic drink?
Orange juice.
Really?
Yes, I love orange juice.
No kidding. Orange juice. Okay.
I always had orange juice. When I was younger, my mom would put it on my nightstand. So I just love orange juice. I try not to drink it a lot because of calories.
Yeah.
Juice is definitely my go-to.
Dude, I freaking love orange juice too. You know what my favorite combination growing up, which is so gross, but I used to love drinking orange juice with 1 day old microwaved Kraft macaroni and cheese. Not together.
Oh, okay.
A bowl of 1 day old macaroni and cheese warmed up in the microwave. So it's like rubbery, basically. And then a freaking glass of orange. That was like my jam. It just sounds so disgusting to me now. But I used to get so excited.
Yeah, I could drink a whole gallon of orange juice. No problem.
That's and then the last question I have for you, I ask all of my guests because I am also trying to write my list. So places that or a place you must go before you die.
Israel.
Israel.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. Why Israel?
Because Jesus was born there. It's like the spiritual land, right? It's like the Holy Land.
Oh my God.
I want to see what's up over there.
Dude, I've interviewed lots of spiritual people and no one has ever said Israel.
Really?
Yes.
Israel would definitely be like let's go to Israel.
I view them all differently now. I think that it's all a facade. They're not spiritual. Yeah, I'm kidding. But that's good. Israel.
I want to see, I think they call it the Holy Land, right? Yeah. So I think I want to wear the turban and just kind of go out there and just spend some time just in solitude. Like, I don't even care if, like, nobody comes with me. I'm okay spending time with myself.
Oh my gosh.
Just kind of meditating and praying.
I don't even know what's in Israel.
I don't care. I just want to go. I just want to feel like the Holy Land. Just get that vibe. Well, that would actually be a little scary because I think I may not even like people after I come back because it's so zen over there. So it's like,
wow. Okay. Yes, I freaking love that answer. Israel. Okay. Yes. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. That was a good one. I was not expecting that one. No. Yeah,
Israel for sure. Without a doubt. I was going to go a couple years ago for my birthday. But it didn't end up happening. But I'm sure I'll go when the time is right.
Awesome. Yeah. So the last question I have for you, I do not remember what the question is, so I'm actually going to read it right off of my computer here. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Speaking to those young adults who are dabbling in the wrong crowds, paint a picture for them. What is a vision you wish they could see? That's a good one.
Their future self.
Yes.
Yeah, like if they're able to envision their future self, what does your future self looks like? If your future self looks messy, all right, let's say that, start changing that. Close that gap from where you are and who you want to become. All right. Your future self should look exactly how you want it to look, in a better place, in a healthy space, aligned, setting boundaries, being healthy, whatever it looks like, right? But you have to walk towards that person. You got to close that gap. What does your future self look like? I always strive towards making my future self proud. That's important to me. Like I always strive like that. Is this going to benefit my future self?
Yes, absolutely. I love that. Any other closing words?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been fun actually. This is you're awesome. I think that what you're doing is so great. You're giving a platform to women to talk about their struggles, to go from trials to triumph, and overcome their scarcity. And I
Yeah,
think, I don't want to close it with me. I want to close it talking about you and what it is that you're doing because I'm grateful for this opportunity. I think you're awesome, girl.
thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having so much fun and being real and honest and talking so openly about your past and what you have going on, going into your future. I appreciate individuals who have a vision for their future and it is real when they talk about it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you, girl.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. So I am going to close up. If you could just stay there while I close up. Let's see. Thank you so much for joining us here on Her Version. If you have an amazing story to share of struggle to triumph, be sure to reach out to me here or at herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I am so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others. Have an amazing day. Much love. Mwah.